I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor.
Very, very rocky.
Death by government.
Drain the swamp.
Hello and welcome back to Swamponomics TV. I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor. In part one of our interview with special guest Andrew Crapuchettes, the CEO of RedBalloon, we discussed how employers are increasingly dissatisfied with Generation Z workers, according to the group's latest Freedom Economy Index report. In part two of our interview, we talk about a fascinating new trend occurring in the US labor market: employers avoiding college or university educated workers and seeking out individuals who do not maintain that same level of post-secondary experience. Enjoy. Now I want to briefly just direct our conversation to something you and I talked about a few weeks ago. I think it was from the February Freedom Economy Index, and it was about employers refraining from hiring workers with college and university degrees. Now I find this astounding because for years it had been, of course, the exact opposite. So can you dive deeper into this? What's happening?
Well, we've seen this trend actually in the Bay Area where I grew up a little bit longer. You saw Google starting to say, hey, we're going to not preference people with a bachelor's degree, right? A bachelor's degree kind of went from this transition of a barrier to entry to, well, it's a nice to have because it tells you that you've actually been able to complete a job and you've been able to do work. That's fantastic. This is a dramatic transition in my mind, right? We have 40% of our employers who are neutral on whether a bachelor's degree is going to be a positive when they're looking to hire someone. So if they just look at the resume, they haven't even talked to the person yet, just look at the resume. 40% say they're neutral on whether the bachelor's degree will give them an interview or not. 42% said it is a negative. So if you have a bachelor's degree from a major university and you put that on your resume, not only do you now have $100,000 of debt and have spent 4 years of your life working on this, you also are now hurting your occupational prospects. And I think that is a very dramatic move from not a neutral to a negative on these job seekers. And so that is going to have a huge impact on college enrollment in the future, right? It takes a long time for perception to change in mass. But if people start to realize it's not a return on investment to go to a major university. And so I asked one of our employers, I'm like, so why? Why would you not preference someone with a bachelor's degree, or why would you actually not even interview someone who has a bachelor's degree? And his response was, why would I hire an anarchist who has been trained for 4 years at a Marxist university? And I'm like, well, when you put it like that, I can see where you're coming from. So back to our earlier discussion, who's more likely to bring a lawsuit? Well, it's going to be a Gen Z person who has gotten a psychology degree from a major university, believes that Marx actually had a good point, coming into your workplace. Who wants that person? Nobody. And so that's going to be a huge shift in our economy.
Now, for those who don't know, RedBalloon produced a hilarious video advertisement that pokes fun at wokeology that emanates from these universities. Here's a brief clip.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like,
rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
By my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up,
I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather.
So now I gather that employers are choosing to invest in these non-educated workers, correct? They're actually willing to put in the money, time, and effort to avoid the type of headache that a more traditional worker would present, correct?
That's correct. What we're hearing from our employers, and again, we talk to tens of thousands of employers, what we're hearing from them is they want to hire based on culture, based on ethics, based on work ethic, more than the skills. They would rather work 10, 12-hour days. They would rather put in the time and effort than to have that bad hire who's really destroying their work week. And in fact, if you look at our report on the cost of a bad hire, we estimate that 17% of a manager's week is spent fixing the problems of a bad hire. That is almost a full day a week that you're spending just dealing with the problems that bad hire produced. And those problems include, you have a bad customer experience that's going to cause those customers not going to want to come back to you. All of your good employees are not going to enjoy working with that person, and they're going to start looking for another job. And those are the people that are making you money. And so if you don't deal with a bad hire, or if you can avoid getting a bad hire, it will have a dramatic positive impact on your business. And so the two things that a lot of employers, as we've talked about, are looking at, they're looking at those Gen Z people who have grown up on social media, and they're looking at people who are coming out of the higher education system. The problem is, as we talked about, you have a tighter labor market because baby boomers continue to retire out of the economy. We've had a low birth rate. We actually have 18% of working age men, which is 25 to 65, 18% are not even participating in the labor market. And this has been a huge shift coming out of COVID. And so you have a lot of able-bodied people who are not even trying to get a job because of transfer payments. And then you have baby boomers retiring, and then you have a younger generation who's not very good at work. And so this is going to cause a significant pinch point, we believe, for employers in America over the next couple of years. I think migration is going to have an interesting impact on that. That's still to be seen because a lot of it is, well, illegal, and we don't know how that's going to play out. But it's going to be a very interesting labor market. The last thing I'd point out about these employers is they are very much in a wait and see right now. In our latest report, they said they see a lower probability that we're going to go into a major recession, but they don't know what the economy is going to bring. They don't know if the Fed's going to lower the rates or keep them or even raise them. They don't know what the Biden economy is going to do. And a lot of them are kind of in a wait and see till November to see what happens then and how that's going to affect their business.
When millennials began invading the workforce, everyone was told that they were a bunch of lazy bones who like to complain and job hop. Fast forward to the present, employers might be wishing for the good old days of millennials arriving to work 10 minutes late every day rather than Generation Zers potentially starting lawsuits. So stay tuned. I would like to thank Mr. Crapuchettes for appearing on this special edition of Swamponomics TV, and that's it for me this week. Please read my full Swamponomics column on the pages of LibertyNation.com, and be sure to check out my previous Swamponomics TV videos and interviews. Thank you. I'm Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics editor.
Very, very rocky.
Death by government.
Drain the